or you can just post. And like I said, if you post photos and videos, they get ranked really, really well. Polls is, there are applications, third-party apps you can include on Facebook that allow you to do a poll. Polls are also in LinkedIn. So you can go in and answer a poll, which you can have a question and up to 5 responses that you can let people choose from, or you can go and respond to polls. So, for example, if LinkedIn is your target market, if you're after the more professionals, the doctor, the lawyer, the people that perhaps are employees and they're working in companies, they're all hanging out on LinkedIn. So you might do a poll on what kind of, you can do it as market research, and you can embed that code into your website. So you can create the poll in LinkedIn, pull the code out and put it into your website. And then I can answer the poll right in your website without even having to go to LinkedIn. But you're integrating, but people can still see it in LinkedIn. So ways that you can dovetail this content through all that you're doing. And articles, I'm going to talk about articles in just a moment. So Pinterest, if what you do can be applied visually, then you need to be using Pinterest. Because it is, when you first go onto Pinterest, first of all you've got to ask for a connect. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm just, yeah, go.
It's a big sigh.
Pinterest involves minimal brain power.
Yeah, okay.
It's boring. Just looking, you know, maybe just take half an hour to see, because it may or may not be suitable. It is addictive when you first get in there because you see all these beautiful images, and create boards that relate to your business. So here's an example of how you might use Pinterest in business. So let's say you're a real estate agent. I know none of you are, but just so that you can think of this example and apply it to your business. So let's say you're a real estate agent. So you might have a board with your upcoming houses for sale. But you might then create a second board with houses from hell. So you might find a picture of a house that's half hanging off a cliff because the water's washed away. Then we look at that and we go, oh wow, and then we share that, don't we? Because that's funny, or that's... So you might have houses from hell. Then you might have another board with DIY fixer-uppers. So before photos. And then you might have another board with renovation or rehab after, what they look like afterwards. Grand homes, beautiful homes. So you can see, and they're all visually stimulating, and people like to share beautiful things or funny things. But you can see they don't really relate to a real estate agent, but people will come and share that content because it relates sort of to houses and property and real estate. So you can apply the same principle to what you do. So with the fashion, you can have any styles that are your own, but then you can have one on shoes and fabulous shoes, or trending what's like the latest on the Paris catwalks.
The best handbags.
Yeah, any could pick anyone. Like handbags.
That's why I'm scared.
Jewellery. What's in? You could even do makeup or just pictures around.
Can I ask a question? Like, so with the Pinterest, because I'm not really aware of what it is, I find something on there and I've put it on my board. Can I buy that? Like, can I find somewhere whose that shoe is or bag is and go, okay, cool, I'll buy it?
Possibly, because underneath, behind the imagery, you can often has a website URL. This is the power of Pinterest. That if somebody has gone, let's say you've got a shoe on your website that's for sale on your website, and I visit your website and I see your shoe, I think, oh, I love that shoe. I pin it to my board. Automatically underneath will be the link back to you.
Yeah.
And you can also use it to sell stuff. So if this is your shoe that you're selling on your website, you yourself can put it on your own board and put a price on it. And people know that those shoes are going to cost them $150.
So, like, as you've been talking, I've just been putting a couple down here. So for mine, they're like parties and themes. I can put, or even just purely my craft kits, I have that many characters. I can pin all them on there.
Yes.
But someone can click on that and go, okay, I find it there. You pinned it on there. Thanks.
When you edit your image, you can change the URL. So you can have each image on the website behind it. You can also add video. You can add video on Pinterest as well.
On Pinterest?
Yep, you can add videos.
Okay.
I can see I could use that for vision board.
Yeah.
Can someone what?
Invite me.
Invite you to Pinterest.
Yes, ma'am. I've
You
never
can
been
use
invited.
Facebook.
You can invite yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
What's your Facebook login?
Well, you said you had to be invited, so I didn't think.
Oh, sorry, okay.
I just got that app.
You go to Pinterest.com and it's by invitation, and then just apply to be on it, and then usually a day or two later they will just say, hey, you're on. I don't know when they're going to stop inviting.
I was going to say, how annoying to say yes. Come on.
They did it that way to begin with, I don't know why. So you just go to Pinterest.com and you can, sorry, I didn't explain that properly.
That's
Okay.
alright, I'm not really in tune apparently with this technology.
So if it's visually something that you can utilise, because then each of these images, don't forget, you can then share them on your Facebook as well. So anything you're doing on social media, on a platform, repurpose it on your other platforms.
I think that's where I got so confused with this. I'm like, well, why am I pinning everybody else's business stuff?
No, do your own.
Yeah, alright, so you can.
Do your own.
Okay.
So for example, what I've got on Pinterest, I've got a bunch of boards on the various platforms. So I've got one on social media, I've got one on Google Plus, I've got one on LinkedIn, blah blah blah. I've got a chocolate board because I love chocolate.
I'm on that.
Yeah.
Chocolate.
Because it's like, oh, look at that. Oh. And I've got one, I think, amazing places, so fabulous scenery and things. So you could be like where you like to go to holidays and things like that. Because we're all visual, and each of them has a link behind it. So it can be back to your website if it's your own products and things on there.
Disappearing into that site.
It does get a bit addictive to start with because when you get in there, first of all, to set it up, you want to create all your boards, and then you've got to go find stuff to put on your boards. So anytime I create a blog entry on my blog, which is an article which we're going to talk about in just a moment, I also pin it to my Pinterest board. And every blog entry that I do has a different image attached with it, and then my blog gets published, my article gets published on my blog. I click my pin it button, and then it takes it through and pins it onto my own board. Make sense? Yeah.
So you would have an articles board?
No, it would go under the topic. So it would go under my Pinterest board or my LinkedIn board or my Facebook board.
Holly, you got 3 red bins.
Awesome. What does that mean?
Means that 3
Shared.
other people have shared it.
Shared.
Means 3 other people,
Yeah.
yes.
So like in Twitter, we retweet to share something. Like when you forward an email, you retweet it in Twitter. You share on Facebook, you repin on Pinterest.
And that's what, ultimately, that's what you want people to do.
People to pin it.
Repin.
LinkedIn, you'd have to share it via the URL, I think, unless it's in a group. Get the URL.
I'm not
Post the
okay.
URL.
Address at the top.
I need to get on there.
That's your
LinkedIn's the oldest.
Yeah, okay.
LinkedIn's my favourite site actually. I like
Yeah.
LinkedIn.
I'm just trying to get my head around how I can be on LinkedIn better, but
No.
yeah.
When you go to your home screen on LinkedIn, you have a share right at the top. You can share content straight
Yeah.
there. But then if you want to go into groups, you can share content into groups using just the URL,
Yeah, okay.
where you find the URL from anywhere. And for those that are interested, I wrote a blog entry about adding, there's a button that you can include to your browser, your website browser, if you're using Firefox. There's a Firefox pin it button, which allows you to pin the content on any single website in the world. Use one for AE? I'll have to write a blog post on that. So, it means, let's say I go to your website.
Talk of the English, please.
I'm about talking English. Let's say I go to your website and you don't have any Pinterest buttons on there. You
Right.
don't have any way for me to easily, you've got a beautiful picture on there,
Yeah.
and you don't have any way for me to easily share it.
Right.
There's an application that you can download and pop it into you know the toolbar at the top
Yeah,
on your website,
yeah, yeah,
on your
yeah.
your internet browser.
Yeah.
There's a button, you click that button and it loads up every image on that page for me from your website.
Oh, wow.
I just pick the one and then it put that on my board in Pinterest.
Which is how I put yours up. With Francis.
So for people that aren't
Yeah.
Pinterest enabled yet,
Yeah.
you can bypass that. We'll get you
Oh,
Pinterest
I'm so
enabled.
with you, Holly.
Hey?
I'm so with you there.
So my blog is wendymore.net. On there, I've written a blog entry on how to get this little button, and it's not that hard to do. Okay, hopefully we're not losing too many people. So we're gonna do another exercise about articles. So
Did you get invited already?
an article is just some content that you write, and you can bundle it up and repurpose it how you like. So for example, if you're on Facebook and you write a note, that effectively is an article. An article in Facebook language is a note. Okay? So, who knows who this man is? Okay. I wrote an article that was on it was on social media etiquette. It was the do's and don'ts of using Twitter. And I think you've heard this story.
Thank you.
And I published my article, and then what happened was in the US, President Obama went to a high school and he spoke to 15-year-old kids about the dangers of using Facebook. And anything that highlights the danger and stuff, the media are all over. They want to
Be dramatic.
Yeah, they want to bitch about it. They want to know. They want to highlight everything that's a danger and the problem for people. And so he spoke about this overnight. It was overnight for us. But I got a call in the morning from a journalist from ABC Radio because my article that I wrote, it'd been indexed by the search engine, and she got online here in Australia at 7 o'clock in the morning looking for content for somebody that had written an article about social media etiquette, and I came up as a result. And because I've got a media site, she was able to get in touch with me, and she jumped on the phone and said, oh, this is what the president has said overnight. Are you able to get on the radio and share some comment? And I said, yeah, no worries. So that's how I got on the radio, but that was just from writing one article.
So how many words were in this article?
Maybe 300 or so, 300-400. Not a lot. I don't write long articles. I get bored. Well, you can split up into two. You know?
Yeah.
That's what you do. And I get bored, but people reading it get bored as
I was
well.
going to say so.
They won't have time. So this was on the do's and don'ts. And I came up in the search result, I got the call, I got on the radio. And that's from an article. So we are now going to do an exercise on writing an article. What page you're on to now?
We're on 7.
Okay, 12, page 12. Because, have you noticed at the bottom of an article that you read, there'll be a bio about the person who wrote the article. Now, the reason we put that on there is because we want the credit to come back to us. So there's nothing wrong with you sharing other people's content, just give the credit where credit's due, because you would like them to do the same for you. So, on page 12, I think I said it was, this is an example of a resource box. This is another example that's an older one that shows a photo for you.
And when do we use that? Sorry?
When you write your article,
Isn't that a big, I mean, that's quite a long.
that's one on my blog. You can see this one is a bit shorter. But a good standard blurb is to have the first paragraph about you, who you are, your credibility, establishing your credibility in your niche as the author of that particular content, and then do a call to action underneath, which is the getting them back to your blog. Because this is the one that we put on our, this top one is the one we put in our blog, and we have the copyright, and then we have want to use this article. You can, as long as you include the following, and the links must be active. Ask for the links to be active because you want a backlink, and you want this included, and then set up Google Alerts and see who's talking about you. Because I've had people that share my content. Anyone you might have seen where I had a lady when I just happened to be up at 1 o'clock in the morning when Facebook rolled out the which change was it?
Google Alert.
The changes about the fact the new timeline was coming. And I just happened to be up at 1 o'clock in the morning, so I wrote a blog, and I ended up going to bed at 4 a.m. because I'm getting the blog out there, and I was responding to people's comments and questions, because I was one of the first people to share this particular content on my blog. I got lots and lots of traffic. Some other chick in the US totally just ripped it off. And we had that on it all the time, and she just totally ripped it off. And I happened to stumble across it a couple of weeks later when I was Googling myself for something. And I thought, gee, that looks familiar. I was called some other topic, but I was looking for something, and then it was my own content. I thought, oh, someone shared it, haha. I went to her website, and she shared it pretty much word for word, changed some stuff except for some typos, used my images with my wendymore.net link behind them, and gave no credit, whatsoever, no credit whatsoever, and had all these comments and all these. She was getting my traffic.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I went to Facebook and said, what would you do? Because it's about creating conversation.
I remember this one,
And what would you do? And I didn't name her, and I never ever named her, but people knew who she was, because if you Google, I gave my article, I said, this is what she copied, and they Googled, and she came up. And first of all, I put a comment on her saying, oh, I love this article, I wrote it.
Yeah.
And then I emailed her separately, and I said, you've just copied it. You can A, pay me, B, take it down, or C, give me credit.
Yeah.
And what did you do
decide.
when you emailed her that?
She said, oh, I'm travelling, I'll get to it. A week later, she'd done nothing, so I reported her to Google. I gave her a Google slap. But in the meantime, Google slap.
It's
Copyright.
real bad.
It's breach of copyright.
You get
In
in
the US,
big trouble.
breach of copyright is big trouble.
Google does not look highly upon you.
No, not at all.
By the
Yeah,
time-
sure, because it is law.
That's wrong.
Like,
Yeah.
for me, as a design thing, it's the only thing I can stand behind is my own copyright.
I gave her a week and she hadn't done anything, so I emailed her and I said, "You had a week. You need to take action on this."
Good on
And she
you.
replied back with going, "No need to have a hissy fit," and she deleted it. And at the same time I was reporting it to Google, she deleted it. So when Google investigated it, they said we can't find the content.
Yeah.
So it was gone. But that's my stuff. You don't.
Yeah.
No.
Well, it's hours of work and they just think it's as simple as a copy and paste, but they
Damn
don't think
straight.
the work that goes into it. So you need to protect your IP.
Yeah, because you don't all understand how much you know. You know what you know through the years of experience and doing it.
And why
And
we
you-
know it is because
Why
it's
you
us,
know it,
not
it's your
them.
experience.
Yeah.
And think about how much you have invested in time, money, sweat, tears, blood, whatever.
Lack of sleep.
Lack of sleep, knowing what you know. And for someone just to come and rip it off, I don't play nicely. Someone said,
I
show
wanted
them
to ask
don't,
you something about
don't
an
F with
article.
me face. On Facebook they said that. And I was being nice to begin with and then I posted, I said, I've shown them I don't F with me face. I did, it was nice, but she wasn't nice about it. She didn't think it was a big deal. So I gave her a slap.
She didn't because she was not.
So,
Yeah, 'cause it
sorry, I
didn't
think you
exactly-
answered and I didn't hear. Resource box goes where?
At the base of an article to
Oh.
prevent
Yeah.
that happening.
Oh, right.
Although
And
that-
so every blog should have this at the bottom as my
Yes.
disclaimer.
For example,
Yes.
whenever
Do
I
you have
quote Amanda, it's Amanda is the founder of Real Mums, a writer, speaker, and is more than a bit interested in Lego, for example.
You love Lego? Oh,
Oh,
Lego's
God,
huge
no, I
on
hate
eBay.
Lego, but I spent a lot of money on it because I had an 11-year-old boy.
It was, in the context of what I was saying, it was, yeah.
And
I
we could
used
talk
to
about
like Lego
Tupperware
as well.
again in just